Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Manos and these are Astrotec's Lyra Mini earbuds. Lyra, Lyra is a Greek word, so I'm going to keep the original pronunciation. Nevertheless, it's been a long time, I missed you guys. It's nice to be back with another review. This review was made possible by Hi-Fi Go, which was kind enough to send me a review sample in exchange for this YouTube video. They do have a nice variety of gear and shipping and communication were very good as expected, so I will have a link in the description down below if you want to check them out. However, like always, this is not a sponsored review and everything you will hear is just my honest impressions. So before we start, let's discuss two things. First, who's Astrotec? And two, why should anyone consider buying earbuds in the first place? My first experience with Astrotec's products was a couple of years back when they were kind enough to send me for review the Astrotec Lyra Classic, which was one of their top of the line earbuds at the time. To be honest, I didn't know much about the company back then, until I did some research to find out that they had a solid line of in-ear monitors and earbuds that were well known in the Chinese market. I think that it was at that point that they wanted to extend and make themselves known in other big markets, and what better way to do it than offering a highly capable but also specialized product. I'm saying specialized because unless you are a hardcore earbud lover, a high-end offering that costs over $100 is not the first earbud that comes to your mind. Most of us started our earbud journey with the so-called $5 miracle, V-Monk vibes anyone. But why would you prefer an earbud over a popular in-ear monitor in the first place? And why the heck would you want such an expensive one? Two reasons. First, to avoid that daily ear canal penetration, which many of us hate.
Maximum penetration!
And second, to get a somewhat wider and airier soundstage that is closer to an open back headphone, without its weight on your head. Of course, to get an experience anywhere near the one of a full-sized headphone, you need a really good earbud. Enter the Lyra Mini, which looks like a smaller and cheaper version of the Lyra Classic. The Mini is not a direct replacement for the discontinued Classic, but it is currently the most affordable model in the Lyra line, having a price tag just below $100. The question here is it good enough to justify this price tag, and how does it compare to the Classic? Let's find out. The packaging of the Mini is, no pun intended, minimalistic, as you get a smaller box than the Classic with a simple, nice presentation of the earbuds. Inside the box you will find a nylon fabric pouch, a small clean brush, 3 pairs of donut foams, which trust me you want to use, and a couple of ear hooks in order to have a more secure over-ear fit. Speaking about the fit, here is one of the biggest changes compared to the Classic. The Mini is considerably smaller in diameter, and as a result it will probably fit better most of the people. I have medium to large ears, and the Classic was somewhat snug fit for me, making long-term comfort take a hit. For people with really small ears that would be a problem. Thankfully, the Mini should probably accommodate every ear size with a smaller and lighter shell that contains a slightly smaller than the Classic 14mm dynamic driver. Especially for earbuds, good fit is a necessity for good sound, and Mini is one of the safest bets you can make. And yes, you can lay down on your pillow with it and enjoy your ASMR stuff, no judgment. As far as isolation is concerned, yes, good chill has some impact, but this is no in-ear monitor and won't give you any serious isolation from external noises. If you plan to use them for traveling, everyday commuting, or listening in loud environments in general, then well, don't. A better use case is for everyday home usage, or anytime you want to listen to your music while maintaining a good idea of your surroundings. Build quality seems decent so far, with the cell being constructed of some kind of durable plastic with a transparent matte finish at the sides, while the back uses what the company calls high density copper ball die casting labyrinth filter. Yes, that's a mouthful. According to them, this implementation is supposed to help with the handling of the sound waves. I can't comment on that, all I can say is that along with the mesh faceplate, this is a common characteristic for the whole Lyra line and is the one that gives them this known house look. Along with the champagne gold accents, this design is subjectively pretty nice and far from the common everyday cheap earbuds. These guys don't know how to design a bad looking product. I mean, look at the Lyra Nature limited edition, that thing is stunning. What is not so stunning is the right-left markings on the Mini. The ones on the shell, despite being on the bottom side or top side if you wear them over the ear, are fine and visible. The problem lies with the markings on the rubber stress reliefs. If you use the foams, the markings on the shells are covered, so you need to rely on the markings on the stress reliefs. And man, even for a young guy with fine eyesight, distinguishing them under bad lighting is sometimes hard. They are really small without any color differentiation from the black rubber. Strange choice and room for improvement here. Also, the cable is non-removable, which is a step back to the wrong direction compared to the Lyra Nature, but I can understand the compromise. The cable itself is a high purity OFC silver plated copper cable with a length of 1.2 meters and medium stiffness. It will take some beating, but it will also get tangled if you throw it around, but I've handled much worse. So, what about amping? Can you just plug them to your smartphone? In my honest opinion, no. Despite their impedance being low at 32 ohms and the sensitivity being high at 103 milliwatts, my experience showed that you are better off a DAP or portable DAC amp in order to make the most out of them quality-wise, but also volume-wise. My old beaten up Samsung S6 Edge Plus just didn't have enough juice to power them with any headroom to spare, and at many recordings I had to go full volume. Other smartphones may do better, but considering the sound quality and power capabilities of most modern phones, then let's just say that we are lucky to even have a 3.5 mini jack anymore. If you are spending $100 for earbuds, then assume you have some kind of a decent DAP or portable DAC amp, and that's what you need for the whole Lyra line. Just try to pair them with something neutral to warm sounding. It doesn't have to be too powerful, but it has to be full-bodied and refined. On to the sound impressions. Starting with the bass, let me preface everything by saying that it can be quite subjective on earbuds depending on fit. One thing is common, and that is that you should not expect bottomless extension or heavy hitting drops. The Mini specs for 20Hz, but I highly doubt that you will ever hear this in real world. Extension is okay for an earbud, while mid and upper bass regions are clean, non-exaggerated and decently punchy when the recording calls for it. Just don't expect big bass impact or extraordinary texture here, as even for earbud standards this is not the Mini's strong suit. Earbuds with bigger drivers do better, but at least the Mini can do clean and neutral. The midband is probably what Mini is all about. It is really clean, sufficiently detailed and forward in the upper mid region. As a result, you do get the sense that female voices sound clear and articulate, while instruments with strings sound nicely snappy and energetic. What I personally miss is the sense of warmth and body in the lower mids that should make male voices, guitars and piano more lifelike and correct in tonality. Take two examples. Jazz in the track Le Passant sound like she's singing just for you, but Leonard Cohen's voice in Traveling Light is missing some of the heavy roughness and grit. Yes, the mids can be a little lean or even shouty at some times, at least for my liking, and this is with the provided donut foams or no foams. Maybe you should consider using full-sized foams, but more on this later. Thankfully, the accentuation of the upper mids does not lead to an exponential rise in the highs. The treble is not sibilant unless the recording is sibilant, and any harshness is mostly non-existent. Cymbals have a realistic decay and the violin sounds sparkly. That being said, if you value absolute treble extension, energy and ruthless detail, this may not be your top choice. So you have probably understood that the Mini is a neutral to slightly cold sounding earbud that is not harsh in the top end and manages to convey good clarity and vocal intimacy. That makes it a good choice for acoustic music, female vocals, strings, classical, etc. It would not be my first choice for things like hip-hop, EDM, or basically any genre that requires hard-hitting bass impact. Of course, at the end it comes down to your personal preference, so if you prioritize clean sound with a nice sense of fare, then I would not stop you from enjoying this with any genre. What I would recommend though is always, and I mean always, use the Mini with the foams, and even better use full-size foams instead of the donut foams, in order to get some of the warmth back and achieve an even better balanced sound. Foam or no foam, what you will always get is a nice and wide soundstage that sounds more out of your head than most similarly priced in-ear monitors. The imaging here is portrayed with a decent width and average height, with the instruments being well defined and separated, while vocals occupy the center stage. Compared to the Lyra Classic, which if I remember correctly was about 40% more expensive, the story is a matter of trading blows. Amp requirements are about the same, build easily goes to the Classic due to its metallic shell, but comfort easily goes to the Mini due to its smaller size. In a few words, you win some and you lose some. Sound-wise, the Classic definitely sounds bigger, warmer, even if it is not a really warm earbud, and more dynamic. It basically has the traits of a bigger driver, however it is also less comfortable and more importantly harder to get a good fit with, which can negate most of its strengths for some people. Mini does sound leaner, but is also airier and slightly wider in some tracks. This can lead to some people initially preferring it. In the long term, and as expected due to the price difference, Classic is the better earbud, but Mini is the safer earbud. This is a comparison just for reference, since a lot of headphones have the Monk, but it is also a good idea to see what are the improvements if you choose the upgrade to an earbud of this class. Considering that we could trade one Lyra Mini for almost 20 Monks, we should expect a significant improvement, and it mostly is. Compared to the Monk, the Lyra Mini is better in every way: wider, more detailed, punchier and more energetic. Having said that, the quality difference is by no means equivalent to the price difference, and the Monk with its full-sized foams can sound slightly warmer. It is still a good value for money. But yeah, the Mini is of course on another class. Basically, the more money you spend, the closer you get to a full-sized headphone experience. Overall, the Mini is a really solid choice and one of the most comfortable high-quality earbuds around. At this level things start to get big, and Mini takes a different / safer approach, making the entry to the Lyra line an easy one. If you like the idea of a mid-centric, clean but also lean sounding earbud with a very good soundstage and great comfort, and you don't mind the non-removable cable, then Lyra Mini should be on your audition list. Smaller sometimes can be better.
Fatality.